All right, it is Thursday, and welcome to another edition of Buc What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Super Heavyweight on Twitter. You follow me, I'll follow you back. I'm joined by my esteemed colleagues, Peter Blake from the Tan Talk Sports Network, only sports talk radio show on the FM dial in the Bay Area, and nobody can do anything about that, right, Pete?
Absolutely, that's exactly right. As my phone keeps on going off right now, we're on Facebook Live. And, of course, I'm the only FM sports talk show on Saturday afternoons from 3 to 5, the Sports Web. Bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense. It's the evolution of sports talk radio, and the reason why we call it that, ladies and gentlemen, is because we give the fans the opportunity to call in twice. We give you your own walk-up music, and we don't hang up on you. We actually care what you have to say. Again, Saturday afternoon on 106.1 if you're listening online, tantalk1340.com. Bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about.
And if you don't know what his walk-up music means, if you don't know what walk-up music means, if you've ever watched a baseball game and when the batter goes up and you hear some music before that, that's walk-up music. They play that. And Sean, the sports don, they play that once you come on the air. And it's so sweet. It's so sweet. It makes you feel special. It makes you feel like a star. And if you're not a part of that, this is something new. This is something innovative. You can call back twice. You can call back. If you haven't gotten your point across or you want to argue with someone else, you can call back. That's what he does. That's Pete Blake. I call him the Spider-Man. I call him DJ Spider-Man, but there's a reason I call him that, and you have to follow me on Facebook Live. I'm sorry, Gene. Back to your show, Super Heavyweight. Let's do this, baby.
All right. And, you don't know if you know this or not, but Peter Blake is now King Peter.
Oh, King Peter. Okay. There's a joke there somewhere, and we're not going to go ahead and go through that because I am on Facebook Live.
We'll get that offline. You'll appreciate it. Exciting week for Bucs fans. The Buccaneers won 31-24 against the Atlanta Falcons. Great game. I see that.
Excuse me. Can I get a TO here?
Okay.
Can I get? Hey, folks, what's up? My name is Rick Brown. I write for todayspigskin.com. You can find me on Twitter at RickBrown91. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know I got on a Redskin hat, so I just don't matter here today. Hold on. Let me switch up here. All right.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Will that give me some love here, Gene? Will that give me some love?
There we go. Okay, so we're good now.
He's got more buzz than the Charlotte Hornets. Ladies and gentlemen, he covers the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He covers hockey. He covers boxing. He covers basketball. He does it all. That's why we love to have him on the Sports Web on Saturday afternoons on the Tan Talk Sports Network. There you go.
And for any of you wrestling fans out there, he covers wrestling too.
Yes, sir. We all like wrestling. We need to do a wrestling show together.
So, Rick, my humble apologies. This won't happen anymore throughout the show. I promise you.
That's right. That's why I got my drink tonight, so I can deal with you clowns tonight. I already know what kind of show this is going to be.
Drink? Is that what that is?
A little Cavassier and Coke. And Cavassier, if you want to sponsor me, find me at RickBrown91 on Twitter. Cavassier, please.
Pastor Cavassier
on Twitter. Yes. But no, please. Come on, G. Let's do this show, man. The Bucs had a great win on Sunday. Let's go.
Yeah. And, I want to get your perspective on it. You were there, and, I just want to get your thoughts on what you thought the Bucs did basically your thoughts on how the Bucs did versus the Atlanta Falcons. This was a road game. We know in past seasons, I'm not going to include last season, but prior to that, the Bucs have had real challenges getting any kind of wins at the Dome. So what was different about this game than in previous meetings?
Well, a couple of things here. Ever since Matty Ice has been with the Falcons, it's been hard to win in that dome. And they've done a great job of cultivating a home field advantage. Domes are hard to win in anyway. They have sound, the acoustics are something, but they've just played hard, and then momentum has taken over. You said we're not going to talk about last year. This year, I just think, divisional games it doesn't matter so much home field advantage or not, because you know the other opponent so well. You know their tendencies. You play them twice a year, so you pay more attention to them, especially if they have the same coaching staff. I just think, honestly, that the Buccaneers were the better team this year. You haven't been able to say that, or I haven't been able to say that in the past. They had arguably the better quarterback, definitely the better receiving core, the better running game, and defensively all through. You can just go from 1 to 11 on defense. I think the Bucs had a better man, and they should have won that game. I said, and I think I said this on your show, Spider, that I thought the Bucs would blow them out, or it would be a low-scoring game. And they were well on their way to blowing them out before craziness happened. But so I honestly just think, Gene, that they were the better team. They went in there thinking they were the better team. And once they got past that first quarter, it kind of showed that they had more talent, that they were prepared for this game. And it didn't hurt that it was Atlanta with Dirk Cutter and Mike Smith going back home.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I tip my cap to Matty Ice. The Atlanta Falcons made a valiant comeback, and they brought the score up a little bit more because I thought it was just going to be a walkthrough. Do you feel like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers let their foot off the gas in the third going into the fourth quarter?
No.
Or do you think that's more what Atlanta was doing to try to get back into the game?
A lot of things happened. Field position was bad. And so Dirk was a little conservative because he didn't want to give Atlanta easy scores, which I understood. I mean, they never got into a rhythm, I think. But what was interesting, and I think that what was key too, and I think this is it might not have an effect short term, but it could long term. The defense made the key stop when they needed to. When was the last time, and I'm seriously thinking that the defense made a play or made a stop that allowed the Bucs to win the game? I remember them giving up fourth quarter leads like crazy the last few years. So if you're a Buccaneer fan, you have to be impressed. You have to be happy to see the team hold on to a fourth quarter lead, and not only that, make a stop, a game-winning stop, so you can go to victory formation and get out of that dome with a W. Yeah.
And Peter, I want to get your thoughts on this. Did you see a level of confidence that you didn't see last season, or what were your thoughts about the game? I want to get your take on both defense and offense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You could see definitely there was an air of confidence there by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Coming into this year, I thought this team would be a 10-win team. I'm not backing down from that because I think both areas, offensively and defensively, they have more depth. They have more talent. Of course, it all starts with Jameis Winston. Besides the first quarter, the slow start, he looked very, very good, very sharp, 23 for 33, 281 yards and 4 touchdowns. And Rick is exactly right. Talent-wise, they look like the more talented team. Now, they give up the lead, but you're exactly right, Rick. When's the last time we've seen a Buccaneer defense close it down? I mean, last year in Atlanta, you have to go, I believe, to overtime until Gerald McCoy makes the play. But this team closed it down. You would like to see them get more pressure on Mighty Ice, but you know what? That's adjustments by the Atlanta offense. With the Buccaneer offense and their running game, I just think the Atlanta Falcons up front really dominated the Buccaneer offensive line in some aspects of that game, especially when they got down 31-13. They shut down the running game, made some adjustments. That's what good teams do. You knew that Dan Quinn was going to come in there and have that defense ready. I don't think they're as talented as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it's a good win because you go on the road, you face a division rival in a hostile environment on September 11th where everybody is pumped up and they're patriotic and everything like that, and you get it done. That's a major win because you look at the schedule coming up now. You have the Arizona Cardinals this week, and then after that you have the LA Rams, which I'm still saying St. Louis. And then you have, I believe it's Carolina and Denver. So it's important to get those wins no matter how it comes. But wasn't it nice to see, guys, a franchise quarterback in Jameis Winston who throws for 4 touchdowns, who's accurate, who was better with the deep pass. We talked about that last year. And wasn't it nice to finally see pressure from that front 4 or front 7, whatever you want to call it. And when they needed to make a play, close down the game.
Absolutely. And the linebackers, I can't talk enough about the linebackers. Levante David and Quan Alexander, the guys that you didn't hear much about last year, unless you're a local person, you really didn't know about this linebacking core that we have, and they were able to let that show against the Atlanta Falcons.
Alexander with 17 tackles, the lead, the team. He was all over the place. I mean, that was the question coming in, Gene. How would Quan Alexander in this new defense fit? Well, he fit pretty good. And didn't Levante David look pretty good? Wasn't it nice to see different looks in that Tampa 2? Wasn't it nice to see 3-4 looks and overload blitzes? Wasn't it nice to see that on Sunday? It's just the start of things to come because I believe this team has the depth on that defensive line. Even though they lost Jaquez Smith this week, 13.5 sacks the last 2 years, I still think they have enough up front to get after the passer. And they're going to have to do it this week because another quarterback comes into town or they go to Arizona. That's Carson Palmer. If you let him have more than 4 seconds, he will eat your lunch. He will pick you apart. If you let that guy go back there and have a picnic, he'll hit Larry Fitzgerald, he'll hit Michael Floyd, and if that happens, then that running game opens up with David Johnson. So this is going to be a test for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week. This is a potent offense, and this is, excuse my language, a pissed-off team because they should be 1-0 if their field goal kicker can kick a kick. They are desperate for a win. The Buccaneers better be ready.
And speaking of field goal kickers, go right ahead. Go right ahead, Rick. I don't want to cut you off.
No, you're fine. I mean, I totally agree with Spider here. I mean, they're about to go into the hornet's nest. Arizona is going to be pissed. They're pissed because you're right. They should be 1-0. And to go 0-2 for a team that some pundits have as a Super Bowl contender.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's deadly. 0-2 at home? Oh, no.
Wow.
In that division? Oh, no. So the Bucs are going to get their best. And they better stop. I hope they're not reading the press clippings and listening to everyone talking about how great they are and how this is a different team. No, they better bring that same energy and a little bit more because they had numerous breakdowns on defense against Atlanta that if they converted, we could be talking about a different narrative today.
Absolutely.
It didn't. So now we have to get ready for they better tighten those up and get ready for a potent offense and a 3-4 defense.
Sure.
That we saw against Cleveland, but it's Cleveland.
Yes.
This is not Cleveland. And those horses up front, they're pretty darn good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Calais, one of those guys you would have to look for. I mean, he's underrated in my eyes because every time you turn on the film and watch him, the guy just gets after. He doesn't have the overwhelming athletic ability, but he just puts pressure on the quarterback. So definitely watch him. And then you go to the secondary. You have Honey Badger, Tyrone Matthew, and then you have Patrick Peterson, which should be interesting this week because you have Patrick Peterson on Mike Evans. Does that mean Vincent Jackson breaks out? Only 2 catches last week. He's going to have to come up big. Adam Humphries is going to have to come up big, and Cecil Shorts is going to have to come up big for this offense. So you hope that the Buccaneers also can establish that running game because you're exactly right. The Buccaneers weren't perfect in this game. One of the aspects of their game was the running game wasn't there. They went to a hurry-up. Maybe they go to a hurry-up again. Maybe this is the identity that we've been talking about. Maybe it's a hurry-up offense because if you go hurry-up, guess what you can't do if you're Arizona? You can't substitute. Now, going back to what you said with defensively, I don't want to steal your thunder here, Gene, because I know you want to talk. But, man, you bring up some great points. Too many big plays against this Buccaneer defense, and they did a very good job in keeping the Atlanta Falcons off of the board. But let's face it, you can't have those type of breakdowns. And what do we see on Sunday? Safeties not over the top, maybe not in position. Corners getting beat. Vernon Hargreaves, our guy right now, your guy, Rick, who you predicted, he got beat by Julio Jones. It's going to happen. Julio Jones is an unbelievable wide receiver, but you got to get that stuff worked out because here you go. You got Larry Fitzgerald and Michael Floyd coming for you.
Yeah, I can't argue with any of that, Peter. And one thing that I did see that he has a short-term memory, and the nice thing about Hargraves, he was able to come back in later on in the game and make plays. So, as our rookies, I'm really happy with our rookies at this point in the season, and I hope to see more progression from them. Roberto Arguello didn't miss anything. He got those kicks in. Vernon Hargreaves, another rookie, coming in and making plays and contributing to this team. This is the kind of thing that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have needed for the draft picks to pan out and the draft picks to be able to contribute, the free agents to come in and the free agents to be able to contribute to this team winning games. Ayers with the sack, that was really nice. Brent Grimes on the other side making plays. This is the kind of thing that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers need to do, and they need to step it up even more because this team is scary. This Arizona Cardinals team is scary. They can put points up at any time throughout the game, so they're not somebody that you can take lightly. And I believe that with the right coaching and people playing discipline, I think that this team can compete and even win this game.
Agents here. How about Brent Grimes? I mean, he got beat on the touchdown by Mohamed Sanu because the David doesn't get there on the blitz quick enough. He only misses him by maybe a step. He gets beat on that touchdown. But overall, throughout the game, you could see why the Buccaneers paid him pretty good because he made some plays, got some tip-aways. He really made some nice plays on Sunday, Brent Grimes. So, yeah, I feel confident in this secondary. And, again, I think it all starts up front. If they can get pressure on the quarterback, it helps that secondary that much more. But if that secondary is put on the spot, too, Hargreaves is going to have his bumps in the road. He's also going to make some plays that you least expect, or maybe if you're a Bucs fan, you would expect because you saw him at Florida, right, Rick?
Indeed. And for both of those guys, I mean, I was impressed with Vernon playing all 65 defensive snaps, playing both outside and inside of nickel. Good for a rookie. Sure. He did get beat when he peeked in the backfield and saw this running back leaking out and thinking it was a screen and ran up, and Julio said, or Sanu at first said, "Oh, hello." Bye-bye. It went down the road. So, I mean, but that happens. And then they had another bust on where Mike Smith said it was just the communication didn't everyone didn't get the call. And that happens when you're learning the defense, which surprised me today. Mike Smith talked today, and they're still learning this defense. It's not like they know it. I mean, they're still learning it, and they're going against offenses that have been in their systems for a while now. This is a more truer test. Not a big Kyle Shanahan fan, no offense. Atlanta fans.
No offense taken. Come on. I mean, what did he do with RG3? What has he done with Cleveland? I mean, I think he's got the Shanahan name.
I don't want to talk about what he did in the past. Just know that I'm not a Kyle Shanahan fan. So
Let it out, big guy.
But you have Bruce Arians now, and they've been in the system for a while. Right. And so this is a truer test for the defense. Again, Spider, I hate agreeing with you so much. I want to disagree a little bit, but the running game, and I talked to some offensive linemen this week, where they're saying that they left some plays out there. Charles Sims made them look good on a couple of screens and plays, but they want to open up more holes for Dougie Doug, who ran hard. I mean, he did good, but it wasn't what you expected. Yeah, he did what he had to do.
Sure.
But I'm wondering. This is what I'm wondering, guys. I'm not sure. I'm not sure Doug is going to go for 14-02 or whatever he had last year. I don't think he's going there this year because I think they're going to split it up more with Charles. But also, I think Dirk gets a little more impatient. And whereas he had Lovey in his ear last year, there's no one in his ear this year. And so we may see Jameis with more yards this year because he may just want to turn Jameis loose, which we'll see.
And why not? I mean, you have the weapons here, Rick. I mean, you got Mike Evans who's catching the ball. I mean, was that not a beautiful pass? I mean, it was like the preseason all over again. Look at the ball placement. It's right there in his hands, and he makes an unbelievable catch. I don't know what was better, the throw or the catch. You have Vincent Jackson. You have Austin Seferian-Jenkins. You have Adam Humphries. You have Cecil Shorts. You have weapons on this team. We haven't even talked about Cameron Brate or the forgotten man on this offense, Brandon Myers. They have so many weapons. You have a quarterback that's hot right now. Look, I'm not saying go to this hurry up, but if it's working for you and if he's comfortable making those calls, let's run it. Let's run these defenses out there. And let's, hopefully they don't get a chance to substitute because we have so many weapons and we want to spread them out. And then once we get their asses on the run, and again, I'm passionate about this, once you get their asses on the run, then you run the ball, you pound them, and you get the knockout blow to them. That's how you play, I think. I think that's the identity of this team.
While I understand that, I think the identity is still run first. And why you do this is to set up for that fourth quarter because the offensive line has to get into a groove. They have to know who's behind them and how they run and how they want to block certain patterns. And the only way you do that is through repetition. If you're only getting 2-3 carries a quarter, you're not going to get that repetition to know exactly what works in the running game. And so by the time the fourth quarter comes, if you depend on it, or the second half comes, and you depend on it, then you're starting over almost because you haven't established it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to lose Doug Martin in this. You paid him a boatload of money to stay.
Yeah.
You better use him. And yes,
I agree.
Dago, Jameis Winston had a great first game, made one bad pass, I thought, one horrible decision.
And it turned and what Todd Monkus was saying was that Vincent Jackson ran the wrong route on that one.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. I mean, you look at the replay. Right. I mean, it happens.
I've watched it over and over again, and it doesn't matter. It was an interception. I still think he had a good game. He took what the defense gave him, and he made the most.
That was impressive, Gene. That was the impressive part, that he checked down, and coming from seeing quarterbacks who are captain checkdowns who won't try to throw it in when a guy has a step, and it's like Kirk Cousins.
You like that?
So,
Case Keenum.
No, I don't like that at all. But in this instance, I did from Jameis, whereas because the checkdowns were working, and the checkdowns were getting you first downs, or in third and manageable, or whatever. And you know what, guys? And we've all know this. We've all heard it before, and I think we all have a better understanding when coaches say this. Sometimes it's okay to punt.
Yeah.
Sure.
And Anger did an awesome job.
Yeah, I think
And the
special teams was a good. Yeah.
Yeah. 40. I think he averaged 45 yards. Hold on. Let me get it right here. 45 yards a punt. And give me a second. La 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 la
And if
la
it was
la.
if it was 45 yards, you'll take that all day long.
No. His net was 45 yards. that means they were tackling very well on special teams. His average was 49.4 in that beautiful dome that we're going to miss. I'm going to miss the Georgia Dome.
I'm not. They can tear it down tomorrow for it. Right, it's right there with the vet, as far as I'm concerned.
The vet was terrible. The vet was a horrible place. You know what else was horrible? The old Atlanta Fulton County Stadium when they used to play there, and they used to blow the Bucs out, and Billy Joe Tolliver used to come in and kill the Bucs. Yeah, that was terrible. You know why? Because you could see the baseball field. And the Buccaneers, they always looked like they were lost. I mean, they never looked good against the Atlanta Falcons in the 80s and 90s, especially when Tolliver was throwing or Chris Miller or whoever the hell they threw out there. The Bucs could not stop them. They would always make these quarterbacks.
Chris Chandelier wasn't on that team, too?
I don't know if they played him back then, but you definitely remember Chris Chandelier.
Yeah.
Because they traded a number one pick for the guy, and it turned out, I believe, to be either Quentin Coriat or Steve Ittman, forced to lead the Atlanta Falcons to the Super Bowl. He had a renaissance, if you will. Had a couple good years, I believe, with the Houston Oilers, and then he went with the Atlanta Falcons. But I don't think that Chandelier ever played the Buccaneers, but I just remember those games, being a diehard fan and watching them and having that stupid
baseball. Why do you guys call him Chandelier? Why y'all call that man Chandelier?
Because if you dropped him, he's done.
He's done. If you
bumped into him, he's done. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, my God.
I feel like the new Chandelier, and I hate to say this, Rick, but I got to say it. You feel bad for the guy, but honestly, I feel like if the guy would sneeze or trip over a banana peel, he would get hurt. He's almost – I think Sammy Watkins is actually getting there. I mean, he's hurt, and he didn't look great tonight, and he's getting to that point where –
It's a mother knew how to freaking slide.
That's it. I mean, how do you not know how to slide by now? How do you not know?
Oh, this stupid motherfucker. All right, but anyway, back to the Bucs.
Yeah.
Back to the Bucs.
So, guys, I'm going to start with you, Pete. What are your four keys to beating the Arizona Cardinals?
Well, I think it starts up front. I think you got to get pressure on Carson Palmer. I mean, if you let him have that time, he's going to pick you apart with the receivers like Michael Floyd and Larry Fitzgerald, who somebody needs to drug test him because that guy still looks good. And if he's going to retire, please let me retire in the same way because that guy right now looks like a top receiver. So you're going to have to get pressure on Carson Palmer. With that being said, the Buccaneer offensive line is going to have to do a good job, a better job than they did. Even though they didn't sack Jameis Winston in the Atlanta game, you still saw a little bit more pressure. So this Arizona Cardinal defense, I think defensively is a lot better than the Atlanta Falcons. So you're going to have to protect Jameis Winston. I think the Buccaneers are going to have to take the pressure off Jameis Winston this week because you have Patrick Peterson, you have Honey Badger in that secondary. So running the ball, getting back to that focus of running the ball is going to be important. And then defensively again, with the Buccaneers secondary, they've got a test this week. So again, they have to be on their P's and Q's. Vernon Hargraves, even though he's a rookie, can't get faked out. You can't be looking inside. Do your job. If your job is to stay at home, do your job. That's my four keys at this point.
All right. And Rick, how about you?
It starts up front. It starts on the line. I think the offensive line, they have to protect Jameis, and they have to open up holes against this 3-4. Looking at this defense, you mentioned Campbell. At nose tackle, they got Corey Peters. The Chandler Jones from the Patriots is on this team.
Forgot about him.
Marcus Golden from at linebacker, Kevin Minter, and the secondary. They got a rookie at cornerback. You might want to test that rookie because I don't know if you want to test Peterson. Matthew, he did not practice today, so because of his knee. So that's something to watch, something to keep an eye on for the rest of the week to see if he comes back later on or tomorrow. I guess the final injury report comes out tomorrow. So that's going to be interesting. But, so the offensive line, I think, is going to be key. 2, turnovers. You cannot give the Cardinals more opportunities. So you have to take care of the ball. Special teams, I think, will play a vital part here. I don't know whether it be field goal kicking or just punting, changing directions, but the tackling on special teams, I think, will be key. And red zone defense, like before. Red zone play. I don't think field goals will win you this game. You're going to have to score 7s. I don't want to get into a shootout with Carson Palmer in this team. So when you get an opportunity to score 7, you better put 7 on the board.
Yeah. All right. And for me, it's going to be turnovers. The Buccaneers need to generate some turnovers and in helping to win that field position battle. I think also the Buccaneers need to stop David Johnson. That guy is scary. He's scary good. If he gets in the open field, I mean, he can really gash teams. So that's another person that the Bucs really need to, focus on as well, and basically stopping the run. I think that's important, and not letting the Arizona Cardinals get those big plays. And as you guys mentioned, with the very obvious. The Bucs need to have that running game going, and that's key in dictating how this game is going to go. Is having that running game.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned David Johnson, 16 carries, 89 yards, a long of 45. His average was 5.6 yards a carry.
That's scary. That's what I'm talking about.
That's good. That's pretty damn good, guys.
Against the Patriots defense? Yeah, absolutely. Against the Patriot defense, that's pretty good up front. But you heard if you're a fantasy football player is how David Johnson has, the combination of he can catch the ball out of the backfield, he can run with some power, he can run between tackles, he's got the speed. So this is a guy that the Buccaneers are going to have to worry about. So it's going to be a good test with this Buccaneer defense. They're going to get a good test with the Arizona Cardinals. They're coming in here. They're a very talented team. So it's going to be something to watch on Sunday. And they got their work cut out for them. And they believe their press clippings and they believe how good they are. And I'm fine with that, okay, because I think the Buccaneers need more national exposure. But you cannot get wrapped up into this. You have to play the next game, and that's the Arizona Cardinals. So press clippings, go out there, play one game at a time. I know it's a old used cliche, but you got to get it done, and you got to get it done on Sunday, and it's going to be tough. Again, we mentioned it. This Arizona Cardinal team is going to be a team that's desperate for a win. They do not want to start out the season as an 0-2 team, because guess what, guys? There's only 9 playoff teams in the history of the NFL that started out 0-2. Only 9. 9 teams have made it in the history. So if you start out 0-2, most likely you're not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think Indianapolis was one last year who was one of those teams that did it last year. But you're right. 0-2. And those 2 games at home. And I want to emphasize that because that means you lose 2 games at home. Or let's take it the other way. You win 2 games on the road. That means you still have your 8 home games, and you only have 6 more. So it's just say you take care of business at home, and you lose the rest of your road games. That's 10-6, boys. That's 10-6. As a former coach who is fond of my heart, used to say, it is a race to 10. So,
wasn't a bad coach either, was he?
Not in my eye, but hey, that's just my my opinion.
It was our last 10-win season.
Yeah,
it's a race to 10,
and with nothing that he had there, free agency wise. I mean, he did that with the team that he had, the talent that he had. But you're exactly right; it is a race to 10, and that's where I think the number is for the Buccaneers this year. I think Carolina wins the division, but I think the Buccaneers, with that talent and the depth, they have an opportunity to win 10 games and have a wild card. And like I said on my podcast, on my sports talk show, not the Sports Web radio edition, but the Sports Web TV edition, the last game of the season versus the Carolina Panthers, that's going to be a get-over game. They're going to win that game to get into the playoffs. I truly believe that. And again, it wouldn't it be nice if the Buccaneers just go into this game, not be intimidated by Arizona Cardinals? And with that happening, it would be a remarkable change from last year, because this team would have the attitude to say, okay, we can play with the big boys. We're not going to be intimidated by the Arizona Cardinals, the Denver Broncos, or the Carolina Panthers. And you could kind of see that, couldn't you, Rick, on Sunday when this team had some adversity? They seemed like they responded. One of the words I used this year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2016, accountability. Everybody has to be accountable. So if you make a mistake, forget about it. It can't be like last year in Levante David saying, we got the air popped out of the balloon because we had a penalty. It seemed like on Sunday. On the first play of the game. Right, exactly. So, to me, they faced the adversity already. They went through a tough first quarter, and they seemed okay. As soon as they got that touchdown to tie it up, it was okay after that. But doesn't it seem like a mentally tough team, or maybe are we looking too much into this?
That was my story on Sunday after the game. It was that this team seemed – on today's pigskin.com for those who want to see. But it was about their mental toughness in this game, how they had adversity and how in the past they may have folded, but they bounced back and went forward. I think it's going to be very key because a game doesn't go exactly the way you think it is, the way you draw it up. Sure. There are going to be bumps. There are going to be times where you may have the right defense call and the other team just makes a play and it's just better. Right. So you have to overcome those things. With the additions of Robert Ayers, who I think Sean mentioned this, but I agree with him there, brings a certain attitude to the front line. You already have Clinton McDonald there. Brent in the secondary, and Darryl Smith in the linebacker core. They added 3 veterans at all 3 levels of that defense who have been through wars, who have been through the ups and downs, who have seen just about everything that the league can offer. And what they're doing is instilling a little bit of themselves in their individual units. And then the stars of those units, the Levante Davids, Quan Alexanders, Gerald McCoys, they're picking up on it, feeding off on it, and they're all just going. I think those 3 acquisitions on defense have made a difference in this team's mentality. And I think you will see them go to Arizona with okay, let's play. I really do.
Yeah. And that's something that's been missing in Tampa for a while. I used to hear the cliche about Buccaneer men. I wanted somebody who would go in and knock your head off and play to the whistle, and somebody that wasn't going to back down. And that's what you needed. That's what you need on defense, and that's what Tampa hasn't had for a while. They've had guys that just okay, and they play to the whistle. And now we got some guys in here that are a little bit nasty on both sides of the ball with J.R. Sweezy. I'm sure hopefully we'll get to see that when he gets on the field. Ali Marpet definitely has that little bit of nastiness about him. Just guys like that. That's what you need to give this team a little bit better edge and just they know that they can go in and compete with any of these teams that we've come up on.
I'm a Buccaneer man. I'm a Buccaneer man.
Yeah, I got your Buccaneer man, okay? I'll tell you what the difference between the Buccaneers this year and past years is they actually drafted, but not only did they put these guys in the position and say, you know what, you have to go in and start, but they supplemented them with veterans, and that is the difference between the Buccaneers this year and past previous years. You depend on rookies to go in and start right away, and that's the reason you get what you get. So, you know, Buccaneer man, I always thought that was just the stupidest line you could ever come up with. You know, today with the Buccaneers this year, the sky's the limit. I truly believe the depth is there. They have rookies that are going to come in and be an impact. You've already seen Noah Spence. You've already seen Vernon Hargreaves. I mean, I saw Noah Spence. He didn't have a sack, but you could see that there's offensive linemen that are flinching, that are getting worried because he has the power. He has the speed. He has the stuff that can create havoc for a pocket. The Buccaneers haven't had that. So, and then Vernon Hargreaves, I think he played, you know, he got beat on a couple plays, but hey, that's a cornerback's job. You know, Darrelle Revis did it tonight. He looked in and got beat. So it happens to a veteran, and it will happen to a rookie. He's going to learn from those mistakes, and he's going to be that much better for it.
And the nice thing about Vernon Hargreaves is he didn't lose any confidence after making a mistake on that play. He came back later on in the game and he made plays. So I'm real happy with him. You listen to his interview, he admitted that he made some mistakes. But to me, I thought he played pretty solid for a rookie coming in. This was his first NFL game. I thought he did great. And
guys, wasn't that what Jason Light talked about when he drafted him? The reason why he drafted Vernon Hargreaves out of Florida was the fact that this kid had the confidence. He didn't seem like he was again, he was intimidated by the moment. He seemed like he could go in there, you know, have a short memory, and that's what you have to do as a cornerback. You have to have a short memory. You have to keep your confidence, because once you lose your confidence, ask Darrelle Revis the last couple weeks. He's been burned. If his confidence is waning a little bit. But, you know, you got to keep that confidence, and you also have to have a short memory in order to play cornerback in the NFL.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. I mean, and just look at last year. Look at the Bucs cornerbacks from last year, and how it seemed like they were so unsure about. And to me, I was like, are they unsure of the scheme? Are they unsure of themselves? Is it a combination of both? What?
Mike Jenkins.
It's totally. Tim Jennings.
Tim Jennings. Mike Jenkins, the greatness of Mike Jenkins and freaking Tim Jennings. Are you serious? I mean, seriously, Buccaneer fans. I mean, were you going out?
Oh, my gosh.
Celebrating after what? You did nothing. You sneezed on the guy. You practically breathed on him. You're celebrating. He dropped the pass.
Oh, God. He got hurt, and I'm sorry he got hurt. Because
I am too.
I would have loved to have seen him
play against us.
Week.
Yes, yeah. Me too.
That would have been
I would have loved to have seen that, but well,
yeah. Oh well.
Oh well. Yeah. Oh
so guys,
well. But
I've pretty much done away with doing predictions because I don't want to jinx this team. But
easy. Speaking of quarterbacks, I got to put this man on the spot here. Put your Washington Redskin hat back on again, please.
Washington Nationals is close enough.
No, well, I'm just saying this, okay, Rick? What the hell is going on with Josh Norman? You know, I've touted this guy up ever since he signed with the Washington Redskins. Performance on Monday night versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, this guy.
I think that was coaching.
He's lost. I mean, he looks like he lost a step. He's getting beat. He's not looking back at the ball. He did none of this stuff with the Carolina Panthers. Why is he doing it now with Washington?
No. Let's call it what it was. Okay.
Okay. All right.
When he was up against, all right, he did. I think he gave up one good play, but it wasn't to Antonio Brown. He was matched up with Antonio Brown on 13 snaps.
Okay.
They threw to Antonio Brown twice on those 13 snaps. You know how many catches Brown had?
I think he had like 0 catches.
No.
Okay.
Zero against Norman. Against Norman when they were matched up head to head. The coaching staff, John Barry, you Buccaneer fans know John Barry very well.
Oh yeah.
Said that if you let Josh follow, or if you play man to man against just one guy, it throws off the rest of the team. And so they just went, Josh, you stay on the left. Breland, you stay on the right. What they didn't do, though, was when they would come with blitzes or whatever, they would leave young Breland man to man against the best receiver in the league. And that's a mismatch. Josh would have played a man. He played Dez man all last year. He played Odell, not all the time, but a lot of the times Odell was matched against him. So this wasn't on Norman. This was on the coaching staff of the Washington Redskins, which did a piss poor job. Can I say that on the podcast?
Oh, absolutely. You're on a podcast. Of course you can.
Because if I can't, then I just messed up. Oh man, I almost slipped there. But no, they did a piss poor job.
Speaking of Dez Bryant, yeah,
they did a poor job. The coaching staff and the quarterback with his decision making did a piss poor job. Because how about this play? I just got one play to say, and then I'm sorry. It just pisses me off when I think about that. It was 3rd and 9 or something like that. He drops back. There's a lane, but he stays there pit-paddling the ball, and then he decides to take off. Okay, I have no problems with you deciding to take off. But you get 3 yards from the first down, and there's people coming. So instead of you trying to get the first down, what do?
Yeah.
You make a business decision, and you say, well, I'm going to step out of bounds because this drive isn't really important, even though we're only down by 2 scores, but this drive isn't important.
Pull the Mike Lennon.
He was an anti-RG3 because at least Robert would have dove for the first down or something. This guy ran out of bounds and said, screw that. I'm going to live to see next week. I don't want Colt McCoy to take my spot or something like that. They're scaredy. You can't play scared if you're quarterback in the league. I'm sorry. You make good decisions, but no. My point is his decision-making was horrible. His passing was horrible. I'm through.
Yeah. Tell us how you really feel. Yeah, you're pretty much done with it. But
I'll tell you how. I'll tell you how I really feel once we get off this live here. Hey, Facebook Live, you still here? Hey, how y'all doing?
Yeah, we're still on Facebook Live. Let's go on Facebook Live. How you doing? Thanks a lot for checking in on the Buc What You Heard podcast. Yes, you can hear me. You can't really hear these guys. We're going to try to figure this out so you guys can hear them. But we thank you for joining us. Just trying to get a little feel for this. But you look at the Redskins this week, they're going to have the Dallas Cowboys.
And we got to talk a little bit about the Washington quarterback, but I'd like to talk about Jameis Winston, and congratulations on winning the Player of the Week, Offensive Player of the Week. Thought that was well deserved.
The FedEx or whatever, the FedEx Air Player of the Week as well. So double. Good job, Jameis.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope to see more of the same decision making, and once again, just getting that running game going. So, guys, any final thoughts on the upcoming game? I'm going to talk about both games, Rick, because I'm going to mention your team as well. But first, I'm going to start with the Bucs. Any final thoughts on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Arizona Cardinals? And Pete, I'm going to start with you.
I would not be surprised that this team could be 2-0. It's not that far-fetched. Even though the Arizona Cardinals are looking for that win, who's to say that if Honey Badger is out of that game, that the Buccaneers don't go out and beat them and be the story of the NFL? They're already the story of the NFL in the young season. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I would not be surprised by it. And let's say they are 1-1 coming home to face an LA Rams team. You're in good shape. You come home and you're 2-0 to face the LA Rams, you're in better shape. And by the way, I don't understand why Jeff Fisher still has a job in the NFL.
Please, there's some sex tape floating around.
He's got it. He's got to have pictures or something on that owner, because a guy that misses the playoffs consistently as Fisher misses, and you know what may get Fisher fired? Is the fact of Carson Wentz. Look how good Carson Wentz looked. I mean, his completion percentage, not great, but 2 touchdowns. You draft Jared Goff #1, and he's a third-string quarterback. Come on, man. What are you doing? When you draft a quarterback #1, you play him right away. Case Keenum? Are you freaking serious? Case Keenum could throw 70% against the Buccaneer defense last year. But you know why? That Buccaneer defense was horrible. Case Keenum is a horrible quarterback. I've seen all I need to see about Case Keenum. How disappointing is it to be on Monday Night Football versus the San Francisco 49ers that had the Rookie of the Year and Todd Gurley, and you put out that kind of offensive effort? Jeff Fisher, I don't know how you keep a job. I really don't.
Very disappointing.
He's in Los Angeles. He won't have his job long. I promise you.
Very disappointing. Very disappointing.
So Rick Brown, who's Washington playing this weekend?
Dallas.
We're playing our. When I was growing up, they used to be our arch rivals.
Yes.
Now they're just another team, another sorry team. So just like us. Trying to get another win, trying to get a win in the season.
Hey, you guys made it to the playoffs, which,
Oh yeah, we are the NFC East, division champions, defending champions, who did beat another team, but I'm not going there, Spider. So
no, you got to go there, didn't you? You had to go there. Going there. You like that, don't you? You like that?
No. Actually, I didn't like that, but because he still hasn't beaten a team that has a 500 above 500 record. So until Kirk Cousins showed me that, I mean, he is what he is, a 4th-round draft pick who's not Tom Brady, who's not Russell Wilson, who was a 3rd-round draft pick, who's nothing special. He's just an average guy.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, and I think the story in Dallas is Dez Bryant. I think it's 1 catch for 8 yards. I mean, that rookie quarterback looked okay. He didn't look that bad. They may need to move on without Tony Romo. Imagine that. But the play of the game, and you talked about Kirk Cousins making a business decision. What the hell is Terrence Williams thinking? I mean, seriously, you pulled an LL Cool J in any given Sunday. You got to pull that. You got to run out of bounds. You don't try to get the extra 2 yards because guess what happens? You lose the game. You're a selfish player, Terrence Williams. So I don't know what's going on.
Get those yards, Terrence Williams, Newman, whoever you are, get those extra 2 yards.
Would have caught the ball and ran out of bounds. And he's a freaking cornerback, okay? I don't even know how he still plays in the league. He's 140 years old, and he could still think more about what he needs to do out there, have a football IQ, have some type of clue. Terrence Williams, what the hell are you doing? Seriously, I don't know what to think about this game because you're right. You're exactly right. The Washington Redskins, Dallas Cowboys, rivals, such a storied history, such a storied past. And you look at it now, they're both 0-1. It's in Washington. I think Washington wins this game, but who knows? It could be like a 17-13 game. It could be a snore. Who knows at this point? I know right now.
Remember that Monday night game that ended like 10-9 or
Tony Romo,
10-7, or it was something stupid where they were showing. The game was so bad they were showing highlights of old Washington Dallas games during that game. So Alfred Morris returns to FedEx Field. In my 48 years on this planet, I have never in my life cheered for one Dallas Cowboy. Never. I have never clapped. I have never. When Alfred Morris steps on that field, I may have to clap because he was a class act for the Washington Redskins. The organization was stupid to let him go. You're freaking idiots.
That's Chris Jericho saying, "You stupid idiots."
Having said that, Alfred, do not run for 200 yards against us, please. I beg of you. Thank you very much. And can I speak about the Bucs, please? Because that's what this is about. What the Bucs? This isn't about what the Skins. This is what the Bucs. But yeah, them. That team right there, the Buccaneers. And you know what? They got a tough one.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Can you just imagine? Imagine for a second them coming out of Phoenix Stadium or whatever they call that daggone dome rooftop spaceship of a university of
the spaceship,
whatever it is.
University of Phoenix,
yeah. It sounds like a daggone online
Glendale of
course.
Phoenix or something.
You know, did they just
is that a golfing course?
Yeah, whatever. But
Caddyshack.
When they come back, can you imagine them coming back 2-0? The confidence this team would have moving forward. That means everything that Dirk Cutter, Mike Smith, and the rest of that coaching staff have been preaching for the last
and teaching
6 months.
Yeah,
and preaching and teaching for the last 6 months or so. When you have success doing something, you start to believe, and that's something I don't think this team has had a lot of confidence, where they can go to any place and feel that they actually have a chance to win. I agree with you, Pete. I think they can go there and win. I don't know if they're – I won't say like I did last week that they're more talented than Arizona.
Right.
But I think they match up pretty damn well with them.
And who could have said that? Could you say that a year ago? I mean, honestly,
No,
Buccaneer fans that are watching this, could you say right now that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could go and match up with the NFC? I guess they were a participant in the championship game, one step away from the Super Bowl. Could you honestly say that this team could match up? But right now, you got to say they can. And again, I would not be surprised. I'm kind of like leaning towards it, and I'm trying to be a homer about this because I'm probably the biggest homer in Tampa Bay.
Exactly.
But you look at it, anytime Jameis Winston gets out on that field, he just makes you believe that you can win. You're in a better place. You're definitely in a better place with Jameis Winston than you're with Mike Glenn, and I tell you that right now. He's made plenty of business.
Believe in
Jameis.
Believe in Jameis.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the same thing, and I think I said this before the season started. I looked at that schedule, and I really do believe that the Bucs could compete with anybody on that schedule. And I'm not saying they would. I would be shocked at a blowout because I think that this team, if they can stay healthy, I think they have the personnel to compete with anybody that's on their schedule right now. And I do believe, like Pete said, the 10 wins are possible. I felt like they underachieved last season, and they should have won more. They should have won more games than what they did. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. But I believe that just like Jason Licht has been preaching, he says he wants to win now, and I believe that this team is buying into that, and I believe that they will do everything that they can to win now. And I see that confidence and that swagger. You're starting to see it, and hopefully they can keep on the same track and get that win.
Yeah, let's hope.
Yeah. And you know what, guys, and make it a little personal. How much swagger we talk about swagger. Talk about swagger. You need to bust one in the. Well, that was rude when you say that, but but this team. I mean, doing practices, they have the music going and all. They're dancing. And before their drills, they're feeling it. They're clowning on me for dancing on the sidelines. Dirk Cutter clowns me for dancing on the sidelines. A guy, Vincent Jackson, tells me last week. He says, "If I score this week, I'm going to dance for you in the end zone." And then he told me today.
Wow.
And he told me today, he said, "I still got you." So Vincent Jackson, guys, now you know how Vincent is. I mean, since he's been here anyway, he's been
type.
reserved and just not holier than thou, but can you see Vincent Jackson doing anything in the end zone?
Other than
is he going to do this right here?
other than handing the football to the ref. Exactly. So, but what that tells me is this team is looser, that they believe in themselves. Mm-hmm. And I think that goes a long ways. And I think we're going to see that throughout the year.
Yeah, I believe that they've bought into this system on the offense and defensive side of the ball. And I think that's key right there is having that confidence and belief in your coaches and what your coaches are telling you to go out and do, and you go out and execute it, and that can lead to wins.
Yeah, no, I think that's what it comes down to, guys. I mean, and this is where, the rubber meets the road, if you will, with the Arizona Cardinals. This is a measuring stick. This is supposed to be one of the most talented teams. You go in there and you beat that team in their house, and you go 2-0, and you come home to the LA Rams. Jeff Fisher, you're fired.
Hey, let's talk about that next week, because the Rams always give the Bucs hell. So yes. We can talk about that next week. But Arizona is a good one, and even a loss,
they're still in first place.
There are no moral victories, but a good loss. Not a blowout loss. But a solid loss on the road, 1-1. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it. So
it's not a confidence breaker.
No, yeah, definitely.
And there are some people that believe this team could start out 0-2 or 0-3, and again, if they go 1-1, look, the Rams are going to be tough. I mean, they're going to be tough defensively. Offensively, hey, I don't know what to expect. I think you put 8 men in the box, you stop Todd Gurley, you're good to go. That quarterback is not going to throw for 70%. But, talk about the Arizona Cardinals. If you go in there and you beat that team, you show the NFL that you belong in that conversation of being in the playoffs, that you belong in that conversation. And look, Rick, this has been the conversation all week long. It's been about Jameis Winston. This team is a shock. So you just hope that there's no letdown. You hope this team doesn't come out flat. I don't expect it, because I know Dirk Cutter. I believe he's a no-nonsense type of coach that's going to get the most out of his players, and he's going to have his team ready to play.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
I totally agree.
All right, fellas. Well, unbelievable. We've been talking for over an hour almost, and that's pretty much all I have. Any final thoughts? I'm going to start with you, Rick Brown, and tell us about your next article that you're writing for today's Pigskin.
Got a notebook that ran today talking about the defensive ends. The young defensive ends that have to step up in Jaquez Smith's absence. Tomorrow, I have another notebook, but on Saturday, I'm going to write about the road doesn't get any easier. And if you want, Howard Jones. Yes, Howard Jones is one of those young
Howard Jones.
Yes, one of those young defensive ends. Yes. But Saturday, how the road doesn't get any easier. All right, you won the first week. But now it's time to buckle down, and they know, both offensively and defensively, that as Spider said, this is a measuring stick, and if you want to be one of the best in the NFC, this is the team to prove it that you're ready to do that.
All right, Peter Blake, the most entertaining sports talk show host in the Tampa Bay area.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The Sports Web on Saturday afternoons, the only FM sports talk show in the Tampa Bay area from 3 to 5. The Sports Web. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. 727-441-3000 or 866-826-1340. If you're listening online, tantalk1340.com. And if you have one of those handy-dandy smartphones, make sure you download the TuneIn Radio app. Look for the Tan Talk Radio Network to hear that show along with all the fine shows on the Tan Talk Sports Network.
All right, and this is Gene. You can reach me at Super Heavyweight on Twitter. You follow me, I'll follow you back. I'm going to do everything I can to get these guys back on next week to talk about the Rams and that coach, Jeff Fisher, and why he still has if he still has a job, which I'm sure he will, because he was just given a 3 year. Wait a minute. What about that 3-year extension? We'll get into that next week. But anyway, everybody, thank you for checking out the podcast. Give us some likes. leave us some comments. All the people that were commenting in the chat room, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And that's it for me. I'm out.
All right.